I remember the exact moment my life split into two. It was a warm Friday morning in our quiet suburban neighborhood in Charlotte, North Carolina. The sun was barely out, the air still carried the softness of dawn, and I stood at the front door holding Ethan's face in my hands. He smiled at me with a tenderness that felt almost holy, and then he kissed me with a slow, lingering warmth that spread through my entire chest. His lips pressed gently against mine, his breath warm, trusting, loving. The moment he pulled away, I felt his hand slide down my arms before he whispered, "I will see you tonight, my love." He kissed my forehead, turned, and walked down the driveway toward his car. I watched him go. I watched the man who loved me more than his own life disappear behind the corner. And the very second his car left the street, I stepped back inside, leaned against the closed door, and let out a breath that trembled with guilt and adrenaline. Because I knew exactly where I was going. I walked upstairs, changed into the dress Aaron asked me to wear, sprayed the perfume he loved, and grabbed my keys with shaking hands. My pulse was hot, my stomach tight, and my mind a battlefield of guilt and hunger. When I slipped behind the wheel of my car, my fingers trembled as I typed his address into the GPS even though I already knew the way. I drove straight to the man who was not my husband. And when Aaron opened his apartment door, shirtless, the morning light touching the hardness of his chest, he pulled me inside without a word, pressed me against the wall, and kissed me with a fire that burned away every last piece of logic I had left. The heat of his body, the way he held my waist, the raw hunger in his eyes, all of it swallowed me whole. I did not resist. I did not slow down. I did not even think of Ethan. In that moment, I let betrayal take over my entire being. Viewers, thank you for joining me today. To all my subscribers, I appreciate you deeply. To my new and returning viewers who have not yet subscribed, thank you for being here. I cannot wait for you to hit that subscribe button because your support is the fuel and the energy that keeps this channel alive and powerful. Please share your thoughts and reactions in the comments right now, because what I am about to reveal is only the beginning. Now let me introduce myself and the people involved in this story. My name is Claire. I am a 35-year-old white American woman, born and raised in North Carolina. I work as a medical receptionist at a private clinic, and I have been married to Ethan for 9 years. Ethan is the kind of man women pray for. He is calm, patient, hardworking, and incredibly loyal. He treats me like a priority, not an option. He cooks on weekends, rubs my shoulders when I come home stressed, and leaves notes in my lunch bag with small words like "I love you" or "You make my life brighter." Aaron is the complete opposite. He is 32, reckless, bold, intense, and dangerously charming. I met him at the gym 6 months before everything fell apart. He was the kind of man who smiled like he knew secrets, the kind who spoke with a deep voice that made simple words sound sinful. From the very first moment, he felt like a trap that I willingly stepped into. This is how it all began. It started with something small. A conversation at the gym after he helped me adjust a machine I could not figure out. He made a joke, I laughed, and something inside me opened. I ignored it at first. I went home to Ethan like nothing happened, but every week when I returned to the gym, Aaron seemed to appear out of thin air. He noticed everything. The shirts I wore. The days I looked tired. The days I looked sad. The days I tried to avoid him. He had a way of pulling my guard down, piece by piece, until he reached places Ethan never touched. Not because Ethan did not love me, but because I never allowed him to see those darker corners of my desires, my doubts, and my wildness. One evening, after a long workout, Aaron leaned against my car, arms crossed, jaw tense. He told me, "You hide your passion behind loyalty. I can see it. I can feel it." His words hit me in my stomach. I went home that night trembling, confused, ashamed, but craving something I could not name. That was the first night I lied to Ethan. The morning I kissed Ethan goodbye, the marriage I had built for almost a decade quietly collapsed inside me. There was no dramatic explosion. No big fight. No excuse. It was simply a choice. A terrible one. A selfish one. One that I made with full awareness. When Aaron pulled me inside his apartment, he kissed me with a hunger that had been growing between us for months. His hands traced my body with a confidence that made me feel wanted in a way that frightened me. Every inch of me felt alive, burning, shaking. I knew what I was doing. I knew who I was betraying. I knew the consequences that waited for me. But in that moment, the pleasure drowned out everything else. He lifted me, carried me to the bedroom, and the entire morning turned into a blur of heated breaths, tangled sheets, and a desire that took over every part of my mind. When it was over, I lay there beside him, staring at the ceiling, guilt crashing over me like a cold wave. Aaron slept with his arm draped over my waist, his breath steady, while my heart raced uncontrollably. I slipped out of bed, picked up my clothes, and stared at myself in the bathroom mirror. My lipstick was smudged. My hair was messy. My body felt alive. My soul felt destroyed. I drove home with shaking hands, praying that Ethan would not come home early from work. The guilt that followed. When I walked through the door, the scent of Ethan's cologne hit me. He must have sprayed it before leaving. I stood there, frozen, listening to the silence of our house, feeling like every wall knew exactly what I had done. I showered until my skin turned red, trying to wash away the guilt that refused to leave. When Ethan returned home that evening, he hugged me tightly and asked how my day went. His arms around me felt like needles pressing into my skin. I smiled and told him I was fine. I lied with a straight face. As we ate dinner together, his eyes shined with trust and love, and I felt something inside me fracture. I could feel the weight of my betrayal sinking deeper into my chest. I did not know it yet, but that single morning would ignite a storm that would destroy my marriage, my peace, and my life. And the worst part was that I would do it again. Because once you open a door like that, it does not close quietly. It comes back hungry. And I was not strong enough to stop it. I woke up the next morning with a heaviness sitting on my chest like a stone. The house was quiet. Ethan was already gone for work, and the sunlight passing through our bedroom curtains felt too bright, too clean for the things I had done. I lay still for a long time, staring at the ceiling, feeling the silence swallow me whole. I wished it could erase the memory of what happened, but the truth was that Aaron had already carved himself into the parts of me I kept hidden from everyone, including myself. I told myself I would stop. I told myself it had been a mistake. I told myself I would never go back. But the thing about a sin that feels good is that it does not just disappear. It lingers, whispers, calls you back with a hunger that grows sharper every hour. And that was how my secret began to grow teeth. A week passed. I avoided the gym. I avoided looking at myself in mirrors. I avoided asking myself why I missed Aaron's voice more than I feared losing my home. Then one night, while Ethan was in the garage fixing his toolbox, my phone lit up. A text from Aaron. Do not run from what you want. I stared at the screen, my heart pounding loud enough that I could hear it in my ears. I felt like I was sinking into something dark and addictive. I should have blocked him. I should have deleted his number. I should have taken that moment as a warning. But instead, I unlocked the phone. My fingers moved before my mind could catch up. When do you want to see me? His reply came almost instantly. Tomorrow. Same time. Same place. Wear the red dress. And just like that, the door opened again. The next morning, Ethan kissed my cheek before heading to work. His hand lingered on my waist, warm and familiar. He told me he would bring home dinner because he knew I had a long day ahead. He looked at me with so much love that my stomach twisted painfully. I lied to him again before his car even left the driveway. I wore the dress Aaron wanted. I drove with shaking hands. And when I reached his apartment, something inside me surrendered completely. He opened the door, and before either of us could speak, he pulled me in, pressed me against the wall, and kissed me like he had been starving for me. I let him. I wanted him. The slow burn that had started in the gym had erupted into a wildfire, and I did not try to stop it. That morning turned into an afternoon of stolen moments, whispered heat, and touches that felt forbidden but irresistible. Every time Aaron said my name, my body responded before my mind could warn me to stop. When it was over, I lay in his bed again, guilt clawing at me with sharper nails than before. Aaron leaned back, breathing quietly, his chest rising and falling in a slow rhythm that made him look peaceful, almost innocent. But I was not peaceful. And I was certainly not innocent. I left his apartment with shaking legs and a soul that felt even heavier than the first time. On the drive home, I kept imagining 1,000 ways Ethan could find out. Someone could see my car parked near Aaron's building. Someone could follow me. Someone could ask questions. But every fear disappeared the moment my phone lit up again. Aaron, I want more of you. I hated that the message sent a rush through my body. The consequences began quietly. The first was a small slip. I came home one afternoon after being with Aaron, my lipstick still faintly smudged. I had washed my face, but my lips still looked too flushed, too kissed. Ethan stood in the kitchen chopping vegetables for dinner. He looked up at me. Did you run today? Your face is red. My throat closed. Yes. I had a long run. He smiled. You should stretch more. You look tense. I mumbled something and hurried upstairs before my hands betrayed how much they were shaking. The second sign came a few days later. Our neighbor, Mrs. Langley, saw me in the parking lot near Aaron's apartment complex. She was visiting her sister who lived in the same building. I did not know she was there until she called my name. Claire? What are you doing here? My heart almost stopped. My knees wobbled. I forced a smile. I was visiting a friend from work. She lives on the 3rd floor. Mrs. Langley accepted the answer, but there was a glimmer of curiosity in her eyes that terrified me. I went home that night unable to eat. Ethan cooked pasta and kept playfully nudging me to cheer me up, but my mind was too scattered. I kept replaying the moment with Mrs. Langley over and over, imagining her mentioning it to Ethan in casual conversation. I started shaking so badly that Ethan finally touched my hand and asked, "Are you all right, Claire?" I nodded. Just tired. I lied again. I was not tired. I was terrified. The more I tried to pull away from Aaron, the more he pulled me back. He knew exactly what to say, when to call, when to press the buttons that weakened me. He was intoxicating in a way that was dangerous but magnetic. Ethan began noticing the changes. He asked why I showered twice a day. He asked why I avoided eye contact during dinner. He asked why I suddenly wanted to work out more. I kept lying. And the lies tangled around me like ropes. One night I came home late, my hair still carrying the faint scent of Aaron's cologne even though I had scrubbed my skin raw. Ethan was sitting at the edge of the bed. He was not angry. He was worried. "Claire, are you sure you are all right? You seem distant." The softness in his voice broke something inside me. I sat beside him, my hands trembling, and said, "I am just stressed." He took my hand and kissed it. "I am here. Whatever it is, we can get through it." His trust stabbed me deeper than any accusation ever could. I went to the bathroom and cried quietly, leaning against the wall, trying to breathe. I wanted to tell him everything. I wanted to confess. But the moment I imagined losing him, the moment I imagined his face turning cold, my chest tightened with panic. So I wiped my tears. I fixed my face. I returned to bed. And I stayed silent. The twist came 2 weeks later on a Wednesday morning. I was in Aaron's apartment, sitting on the edge of his bed, trying to catch my breath while he pulled on his jeans. My body still hummed with the aftermath of everything we had done. I kept glancing at the clock, aware that Ethan had taken the day off from work. But I thought I had time. I stood up and reached for my dress when suddenly Aaron's phone lit up on the nightstand. He turned pale. I lifted my eyes and saw a name on the screen that froze my entire body. Ethan. My husband. Calling Aaron. My legs nearly gave out. The room felt like it was spinning. My heart slammed violently against my ribs. And then Aaron said the words that shattered everything I thought I knew. Claire, there is something I did not tell you. The moment Aaron said those words, my entire body went cold. I stared at him, frozen, my dress hanging loosely from my shaking hands. The name on his phone glowed like a knife against my skin. Ethan. My husband. Calling the man I was betraying him with. I struggled to breathe. My ears rang. I felt the room closing in around me. Aaron did not answer the call. He simply silenced it and placed the phone face down on the nightstand. His jaw tightened, and his eyes did not meet mine. I stepped back, unable to control the tremble in my voice. What does this mean? Why is Ethan calling you? Aaron finally looked at me, and the expression in his eyes was not the bold, confident heat I was used to. It was something else. Something darker. Claire. Ethan knows me. My heart stopped. He should not know you, I whispered. He should never know you. Aaron ran a hand through his hair, pacing the room with a tense, restless energy. He knows me, he repeated. We used to work together. Years ago. At the construction site on Ashford Avenue. I felt sick. My knees almost buckled. You never told me this. He looked at me sharply. Would it have stopped you? The answer shot through me like lightning. Yes. Or maybe no. Or maybe I did not want to know the truth. I dropped onto the bed, breathing hard, trying to understand how the disaster that awaited me could possibly get worse. I felt as if my lungs were collapsing. The affair was no longer a secret hidden between two people. This was a fire creeping toward my home. Aaron, why is he calling you? My voice cracked. Aaron swallowed hard. Because he found something. What did he find? I asked with a trembling whisper. Aaron hesitated. He sent me a text earlier. I ignored it. Now he is calling. Claire. I think he knows something is going on. I shut my eyes and felt my world shatter inside me. Pieces of guilt, fear, panic, shame, collapsing all at once. I grabbed my bag and rushed toward the door. I nearly tripped as I tried to squeeze my feet into my shoes. My heart was racing so fast I could barely think. I needed to get home. I needed to get ahead of whatever was coming. Do not call me, I said, my voice breaking. Do not text me. Do not come near me. Please. Aaron nodded, his face tense. I could tell he felt the pressure too. This was no longer exhilarating. It was dangerous. I left his apartment shaking, barely able to breathe. The elevator ride felt like it lasted years. The parking lot was spinning. When I finally reached my car, I gripped the steering wheel tightly, trying to hold myself together. I did not know it then, but the storm had already reached my front door. When I pulled into the driveway, Ethan's truck was parked outside. My heart plummeted. He was supposed to be running errands. He was supposed to be anywhere except home. But he was there. Waiting. I walked toward the house slowly, every step heavier than the last. My pulse throbbed in my throat, and my hands felt numb. I opened the front door, and there he was. Ethan stood in the living room with his arms crossed, his eyes red, his face drained of color. On the coffee table lay my red dress. The one I thought I had stored safely in my closet. The one Aaron loved. The one I had worn during our last meeting. Ethan had found it. My stomach turned. I felt the blood drain from my face. He looked at me with a mixture of pain and disbelief so deep it pierced through my chest like a spear. Claire, he said quietly, his voice breaking. I need you to tell me the truth. My throat closed. I could not speak. Tears filled my eyes, and my lips trembled uncontrollably. "Where were you today?" he asked. I opened my mouth, but no sound came out. Ethan stepped closer. "Do not lie to me. Not now. Not again." His voice was firm, but underneath it was a devastating sadness that made it almost impossible to breathe. He pointed at the dress. "I found this in your gym bag. It smelled like cologne. Not mine." His voice cracked, and he pressed his hands against his face. "Tell me the truth. Tell me you have not been with another man." My heart pounded so hard that I could feel it shaking my entire body. I wanted to deny it. I wanted to hold on to the last string of hope. But the weight of my betrayal crushed every excuse. I looked at the floor and whispered, "I am sorry, Ethan." The words came out broken, barely audible, but they were enough. Ethan staggered back as if someone had punched him straight in the chest. His face twisted in agony. He stared at me with eyes that held nothing but heartbreak and betrayal. "How long?" he asked. "A few months." He shut his eyes. A tear slipped down his cheek. "And with who?" I froze. I could not tell him. I could not say Aaron's name. But Ethan already knew. He pulled out his phone and showed me the screen. Aaron's number. The call log. The screenshots of messages I thought I had deleted. "I went through your phone backup," Ethan said, his voice hollow. "I saw the names. I saw the pictures. I saw everything." My legs gave out, and I sank onto the couch, sobbing. Ethan walked away from me and punched the wall so hard that the picture frame above him crashed to the floor. He started pacing, shaking, crying, trying to breathe as the truth settled like poison into the room. When he finally turned back to me, the love in his eyes was gone. Completely gone. Ethan stood in front of me, trembling with fury and heartbreak. "How could you do this to me?" he asked. "How could you betray me like this? I loved you. I trusted you. I gave you everything." I sobbed into my hands. "I am sorry. I do not know what I was thinking. I made a mistake." "Ethan, please. Do not say my name," he snapped. "Do not talk to me like we still have something to fix." My breath hitched. His voice sounded nothing like the man I had married. "You destroyed us," he said. "You threw our marriage away for someone who does not care about you. And you think I will forgive you?" His words were sharp, merciless, and every one of them struck deep. "I want you out of this house." I lifted my head slowly. "What?" "Out," he repeated. "Tonight. Right now. I will not sleep under the same roof with a woman who betrayed me." My chest tightened so hard I could barely breathe. "Ethan, please. Pack your things," he said. Coldly. "Leave the key on the counter." I fell to my knees, sobbing, begging him to reconsider, but Ethan turned away from me, his shoulders shaking with heartbreak. He did not look at me again. His silence was worse than his anger. I went upstairs, crying uncontrollably, and packed whatever I could fit into 2 suitcases. Every folded shirt, every pair of jeans, every photograph I touched tore me apart even more. When I came downstairs, Ethan was sitting on the couch, staring at nothing. His face was blank, hollow. He did not speak as I placed the house key on the counter. He did not hug me. He did not look at me. He did not say goodbye. He simply let me walk out of the home we had built together like I was a stranger. I drove away with blurred vision, my tears streaming down my cheeks. I had no place to go except a small motel on the other side of town. When I finally stopped the car, I collapsed over the steering wheel, sobbing so hard that my body shook. Aaron did not call. He did not text. He did not check on me. I later learned that the moment he realized Ethan knew, he blocked my number, deleted our messages, and vanished from my life. I had thrown away my marriage for a man who disappeared at the first sign of trouble. I lost everything. My home. My dignity. My stability. My husband. My peace. I spent the night alone in a cold motel room, staring at the ceiling just like I had months before, except this time, there was no thrill, no excitement, no desire. Only consequences. Only silence. Only regret so deep it swallowed me whole. Ethan never forgave me. And he never looked back. That was the price I paid for opening a door that should have stayed locked forever. And that is the day everything broke.